hitting start, and I'm launching this bad mamma jamma.
How's our back one?
Oh, I got it suited. What's going on, everybody? How are we all doing?
Wow, man, when you can not have the sofa shine on?
I'm planning on blocking it a little bit here.
Okay.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, we are here today to really just introduce ourselves and our practices and why we do what we do and why we do it so frequently. More or less why we've dedicated our life to the works of these arts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Sifu, what got you started in your practice of the arts?
What got me started? Well, to be honest with you, first of all, I'm Sifu Lester, and you may or may not know me. One of the founders of Tai Chi 360, a disciple of Temple Tai Chi. Sifu Ron was my direct teacher, and we followed the teachings of Master Liao. But long before I even embarked on my Tai Chi journey, I started in the martial arts world when I was a little bit of nothing, way back in the day, maybe like 12 years old. And the reason that I started was, back then, we used to watch a Kung Fu movie on Sundays. I forget the name of it. And everybody was Kung Fu fighting back then. So all the kids would go outside and play around and mess around with it. And that drew my interest. So I asked my dad, could I start taking classes? And he did his best to get me enrolled in a class. And I got enrolled in a class. It was called Taekwondo, but after figuring out that it really wasn't what I thought it was, I still had fun learning it. It was a little bit of this and a little bit of that, Taekwondo and karate mix. And I loved it. Never stopped. And I saw multiple benefits just growing up. It started helping me begin to get more confident in myself because I was a shy type, you know. I would oftentimes get bullied and picked on. And I don't like to fight, never did like to fight. I would do anything to avoid a fight. But when a kid not able to defend themselves and have to be like so docile, that can actually cause a lot of emotional trauma in kids. So a lot of people don't realize that. But what I noticed over time is I started feeling better about myself. You know, not like a bully where I would go and bother people, but I started helping people who were getting bothered. So I became a bully beater. Yeah, I would actually help out the weaklings, so-called weaklings, you know, the nerds per se.
Okay.
And I enjoyed that role in life. So that kept me interested all throughout my younger years. And then somewhere along the road, after my military journey, got out, I was real stressed, dealing with some post-traumatic issues. And I met my wife, and my wife is from Asia, right? She's from Hong Kong. And she took me to a traditional Chinese New Year celebration. And I walked in, and I saw them doing Tai Chi. That's my love now, family. I saw it, and it just took me away. It was something about it. It looked like a martial art, but it looked like a beautiful, elegant dance. And I was like, honey, what the heck is that? I said, it looked like a martial art, but it looks like a dance. She's like, that's exactly what it is. And I'm like, I want to learn it. So I went and talked to the teacher, and I found out that it was much more than a beautiful martial art, a beautiful dance. that it was also an exercise that I could do for the entirety of my life that would make me healthy. And it did just that. It gave me a healthy mind, healthy body, and brought a lot of healthy relationships into my life. And it's something I can do forever.
I got an off the wall question here for
Yes.
you, Sifu. When did you begin believing in the tangible expression or use of energy?
I'll tell you what. I had a couple of personal experiences in my life. One of them was my Sifu got very sick. My teacher, Sifu means teacher for anyone that doesn't know that, but my direct teacher, Sifu Ron, rest in power to him, he got very ill. And I was in South Carolina. He was in Florida, and he called me. And I came down to visit him, and I was always told about how to do these different energy healings and stuff like that, but I never really had the opportunity to work with someone who was actually in need of the energetic healing. And lo and behold, my Sifu, my teacher, was in the need of this healing. Needless to say, he guided me through a healing session, and it just blew my mind. That was one personal account. And then my mom was in a coma for a couple of weeks, complete comatose state, at the point where they were talking about removing her from the respirator. And I went in, did some energy work, and within a week and a half, my mom was out of the hospital. And after that, nobody can tell me anything about the energy arts. So people say it's hocus pocus or whatever. Not in my world. They just haven't been exposed to what's real and what's not real.
Yeah, right on, Sifu. So you've got several testimonies yourself. Have you noticed anything in your own?
Oh, man. On a physical level, as I said, on an energetic level, mentally, it soothed my mind. It took away all of the stress and the emotional traumas that I had.
I can relate.
But physically, when I came back from the desert, I was diagnosed with something that I didn't have before I went into the desert, dealing with my bronchial system, with my breathing. And I've had maybe 3 episodes where I've came close to being nearly dead, down to my last breath.
And Tai Chi got you through that?
Tai Chi got me through that. More specifically, the breathing mechanism, the breathing mechanics. So that would be more along the Qi Gong, which is part of the Tai Chi. It's inside of the Tai Chi.
Right.
But yeah, the proper breathing and also being able to maintain that peaceful mind state and not getting stressed and panicking because I wasn't able to breathe efficiently. So yeah, man. So Tai Chi prepares you for life and for death.
Right on. Yeah. So Ali, have you had experiences that are similar to some sort of beyond typical medical definitions in your own being?
I've had a few. It was very, I would say, unique and a learning experience in itself. Just like Sifu, as a child, most of us start out by watching kung fu movies or something of that nature, and you get interested in it. But as a kid growing up, whenever I would get sick, my dad would always take care of me with herbs. And I knew as I'd gotten older, they were something totally different than Western medicine. And as he started teaching me a little bit, but then after that, I'd gotten out of school and went into the military for 4 years. Later on, I found a few people to study under, but then I found a Sifu that was a Taoist. And he was the one that taught me a lot about the Qigong, the Tai Chi, also a lot about energy, which is exciting, like Sifu Lester said. We're swimming in a sea of Qi. And I wanted to learn more. I wanted to know more. That was totally something different in the healing abilities. And one day, one of his kung fu students was hurt, and he said, "Well, we can't have class today." And I said, "Okay, but he says, I'm going to work on him, do some tuning." I said, "Can I watch? Can I do something?" He said, "Sure." So that caught my interest, and when he showed me that, that is when I knew right then and there was something totally different, and I wanted to know. I was excited. It was like opening up a whole new world to me. And as he began teaching me over the years, you learn to use your imagination, because everybody will present something different to you.
Right.
So may I ask a question?
Please
Brother
do.
Ollie. So Brother Ollie, will you tell people what do you do, or why would someone be interested in making contact with you?
Well, it all depends on where they live. If they feel that there's an energy on the property that may feel a little off, a little different, or maybe even in people that's living there, I change the energy. I clear the property, and then I clear the house on the inside, and I clear all things that are living. People, animals, their energy will just change dramatically once you clear of all the negative energy, because there's so much negative energy, say like from the Civil War, things like that remains. And on people's properties, like in Virginia, Tennessee, Kentucky, there's a lot of war going on. So that earth is holding that chi, that negative, and they build houses on their place. And people say, "I seen ghosts," or "There's something not right," but I clear that for them. And then I clear their house, because it may be in the house just like it was with Rod. And I clear them. I can also cloak them, cloak their house, and you won't be able to find it on a map. If you're looking up on Google or something, it'll be a white spot.
When
Seriously.
did you start doing this type of work? Is it usually remote, or do you have to be there?
No, I do not have to be there. If someone wants me to, say, clear their property, that's like, okay, where do you live, and give me a little information of, do you live on have 5 acres or an acre, or what are you feeling? So that gives me an idea of what I need to think about, because there's all kinds of things, like curses, for instance, that can be passed down from one generation to the next. Or it could be that someone just bought this property, just like you see on Haunted. A lot of places that are haunted, it is because that energy is there, but once you clear it, it dissipates. Okay, and you can feel the difference in the energy. If it's a negative energy, and you're, say, in a house visiting with someone, and you feel that, it'll feel cold. Once you clear that energy, and you go back into that place, it's a nice, warm feeling. It's a welcome feeling. That you'll feel that. You'll feel that right off.
You'll have to forgive me because I asked you 2 questions in a
Sure,
row.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, me. I am. When did you start doing this kind of work, and how long did it take you to start getting positive feedback?
I started this work when I was like 30. I've gotten interested in it, and so I started practicing building up my chi. My Sifu has said, learn this. Build your chi, and you can do anything. I've been working with it for about the same amount of time, about 30 years, with both. Learning the chi and being placed on the spot with it, from different people. And if like it was something new, I wouldn't say, no, I can't. I would say, I don't know, but I'm going to try it to find out. I'm going to use my imagination. And doing that, and then when I got feedback from the people, it was like, oh my gosh, I felt so good last night, or I've gone to people's houses while it's like a remote viewing, okay? I've been in people's houses in Wisconsin when I was living at the time in North Carolina. And then if I could do the clearing, then I can do a lot of the healing too, long distance, because we're swimming in a chi of energy everywhere. The chi is just flowing. So there is no time or distance when you're working on someone, or if you're doing an energy clearing of some sort. There is no time and distance.
Yeah, it's like I'm vaguely familiar with floating over to places. I'm not very skilled yet, so I'm hoping to learn some more of that from you. That'll be fun. It's really just all about practice, though. Is that right?
Yes, all about practice, because you need to build the chi. You need to learn about energy and about chi itself. Once you learn about energy and you build your chi, you've got it. Everybody has it. You just have to find the people who can help you to go that step and then to the next step. But a lot of that you learn on your own.
So would you say Qigong is a good entryway?
Oh, definitely.
Oh,
Definitely. The Qigong will give you once you get into it, it's a rush. You know this power. You feel it. Your body is like, right? You feel it. When you feel it, you know it. You got it.
Yeah, I can personally attest to Qigong curing. I can't say curing, sorry. I'm not allowed to, because I'm a lowly little grunt in this world. But yeah, Qigong definitely treated my severe anxiety, and I can absolutely attest to that, and anybody can contact me and take me anywhere they want to about it. That being said, I definitely have to say, I don't think I've seen as much progress since treating my anxiety, that is, through my Qigong journey as I have seen with the inner alchemy that you are teaching me, Sifu. And so I'm super, super gung-ho about Tai Chi, Temple Tai Chi inner alchemy right now. And I can pretty much promise you guys, if you just want to skip your first 5 years of meditation practice, you just jump into this man's live streams and start practicing it. Do not worry about whether or not it's real or this or that. Just do the practice and you will have a testimony of your own.
That's true, bro.
Yeah, so I'm all about that right now. Inner alchemy all the way. But I've never worked with the 5 elements in particular. I guess that's a lie, because my first Qigong form was Dragon Tiger, where we did work with the 5 elements. But I did not know anything about energy channels. I didn't know anything about Dantians except the lower Dantian, 2 fingers below the belly button. So I had very minimal knowledge and just adopted the beliefs as I learned them.
Right. So, can I piggyback?
Please do.
So now with you being slowly but surely introduced to the different Dantians, the different chakras, the different, whatever you want to call them, the meridian systems and things like that, and how they function, that's going to simply help you to take your practice to another level.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because now you can use, as our brother Ollie said, you start using that imagination, that soft, gentle yi, that soft intention. Then you're going to start traveling through these meridians and working with the chi flow in a more realistic fashion.
Right, and that gentle yi is actually a new piece to my puzzle, if you will.
Right.
And I just started practicing, introducing, because before this, I was all about intensity.
Right.
I'm a very intense individual, so I would do my Qigong and I would put in effort, put in some effort on moving the chi and pierce it into the heavens. But when you're dealing with heaven chi, guys, do not try to be forceful. Heaven chi is like a cat. It does not respond to you barking demands at it. You got to let that heaven chi come here.
Right. And actually, if you force anything when you're dealing with, even with Tai Chi, you're not supposed to force anything. You're supposed to allow it to happen. Whenever you're working with the Dantian, you feel that lower Dantian. It fills up gradually, so there's no rushing. There's nothing to rush. As Brother Ali said, time is not real anyway. It's just a device that we use to get along in this society.
Charge people for hours?
Whatever it may be. But
yeah,
once you get into the alchemy, there's no rush. It's always using a gentle yi, an intention, and you want to guide. You want to be like a guide for the energy. You don't want to be shoving the energy around because you will burn yourself out. I've seen it happen before.
It's kind of like the idea that's pretty popular in Kung Fu, which is instead of hitting or meeting with your obstacles, you flow past them.
Be like water.
Right.
Be like water. Right. So you don't want to go and try to use force like water. Water will eventually make its way around, or it will seep through. But eventually, that water is going to get there. And what's the rush?
Right.
Where
And that's some pretty high level. Well, internal alchemy in the higher levels becomes an external influence. Is that right?
Well, I don't really understand what you mean by that.
Okay.
If you could maybe state that again.
Yeah, sure. So, from what I understand, the best way to define alchemy so far that I've come across is when something that appears of a negative vibration or emotion presents itself.
Right.
The goal in alchemy practice is to change it or transform it or transmute it into positivity by the time it leaves your area.
Right. So basically, as you just said, we're able to take something that may not look so rewarding, may be looked at as being negative, and you learn how to turn that around into something that can be useful.
Gotcha.
It's going to be beneficial.
To
So
flow
we neutralize
past
it. Right, you can neutralize that,
Yes.
and the earth helps us do
Yes.
that. But if we're disconnected with the earth, and we don't understand why we're disconnected, you're not really going to be able to get rid of that situation.
Gotcha.
One simple little statement. Change the way you look at things, and the way you look at things will change.
You're going too deep, Ali.
But that is that simple, though, really.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Like I tell people, when you hit something negative, think about it. 5 minutes, no more, because then it becomes excess. Let it go. Let it go.
Especially if you let it roll over onto itself in an aggressive or non-gentle fashion.
Right.
So first of all, we already know that everything, nothing is excluded. We have frequency, first of all, and there's multiple frequencies, right? Frequencies is dealing with our levels of consciousness. That's what this whole alchemy thing is about. So we have frequency, and then once we reach various frequencies, there's various frequencies, right? We have vibration. Everything has vibration. It's all about vibration. And then, depending on the rate of vibration, we have specific types of energy, right? So we have frequency, vibration, and energy. We're all energy, right, at various frequencies. So we're able to look at things, as Brother Ali said, when you look at things differently, you can change that frequency.
Yes. Yes.
We become, it's magical. It's simply magical because we're all magical beings. Yeah. Most people just don't understand their power because they limit themselves to this 3D vehicle.
Yeah.
And we're much more than 3D. As my good brother Ali says, you are
I am a spiritual being having a human experience.
Right. It gets no more simple than that.
And I believed in energy my whole life. Can you say the same?
It wasn't a matter of believing or not believing. I just knew that it was there.
Right on.
There's nothing, no discussion. Yeah.
And Ollie, you were kind of raised believing in energy.
Yes, very much so. And as I've gotten older, like I had mentioned once before, I was like 13, 14 years old when I had seen my dad part a tornado with his hands like that, literally parted. And I knew then that there was something that I needed to know, something I needed to learn.
And you shared.
And
Go ahead, please.
that's when eventually over time, meeting the right people at the right time, teaching you a lot about energy, chi, Gong, different things like that. And then I noticed my body started building up this kind of like massive amounts of chi and vibrations. And it's like, I want to share it with the whole world. You know, so a lot of times when I do my meditations and stuff like that, or my clearing, I not only put it to a certain place, but I put it throughout the whole earth, for everybody on the face of this earth.
And when you saw your father split that, he had a tendency to pray pretty often, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Right.
Knowing at that time now that I can reflect back on that, he was always receiving energy, a vibration, because there was always something about him. He was always nice and calm. Very seldom I've ever seen him get upset about something. But just being around him with that energy is just amazing. So sometimes it's like being out in the desert for 3 or 4 days and you thirst for water. I was like that with him. I wanted to drink all of that to know what it was like. And when I started learning it all, that's when it started filling me. And that's when, I get excited about doing this kind of work or any kind of energy work. It's just one of the greatest love that I have. But again, it all began with Tai Chi, Qigong, different things of that nature. And then from that point on, just use your imagination. Use that as one of the most powerful gifts that we have been given to us as humans, where most of us take it for granted.
So before, you just said that it all began with Tai Chi and Qigong.
Yeah, began to learn more about creating
Gotcha.
the chi, creating the energy and feeling that vibration.
Because I had the same, more or less, experience. Like I said, I believe in energy since I was a little kid. And I remember being in 4th grade and they put a piece of paper in front of me. What do you want to be when you grow up, was the question. And I sat and I pondered that for an unusually long time for a 9-year-old. And I finally wrote down psychic and a father. And my teacher came to me and said, I don't think you understood the question. And I was like, what is there to not understand? Is what I'm thinking as a 9-year-old. But I never knew there was such a sure way to develop those types of awarenesses or abilities until Qigong. When I was 21 was when I first heard about this. So, when did you first hear about Qigong or Tai Chi, Sifu?
When I came from the military and I went to that Chinese New Year celebration.
How old were you?
20-something, mid-20s.
20-something, yeah. So 20 years without knowing how to develop it.
Didn't even know that it was something that could be developed. But now as I dig deeper, it's something that most people have lost touch with because of society and the way that society is constructed. But if we don't exercise it, it diminishes. It's just as if you go to the gym and lift weights, you have to exercise your muscles. You have to exercise these abilities as well. And they're innate abilities, meaning that we were born with these abilities.
Right.
But we lose touch. Right. Our food, the things that we look at, the things that we pay attention to, right?
What lessons we
what
decide
to listen
learn.
to, what we take into our vessel, all of those things have influence on our abilities. So, I'm learning every day.
Yeah, big same. Big
and
same.
loving every bit of it.
Yeah.
And I'm never gonna stop.
Can't help but express how grateful I am to be around such great men to learn
And
from.
likewise.
Same here.
Likewise.
Same here.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us on the show today.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
thank you.
It's yours as far as it's mine.
I couldn't do it without you, my good brother.
That's right.
Right back at you, brothers. Right
Thank
back
you.
at you.
Thank you, Sifu.
Thank you. Man.
Well, everybody, if you got any questions that you want to ask any of us, I'm sure you can figure out how to reach us on this World Wide Web that we got.
Come on in, family.
You heard him. You heard him. Come on in. Ask us some questions. We're almost always reaching out to people, talking to people. If we're not doing that, then we're training with ourselves or with people. And if we're not doing that, we're resting because we've been training all day and talking to people. So this is our life, and you're welcome to it.
We
I love
welcome all your questions. Please ask.
There you go. Good brother Ollie says ask. Oh, and we're getting some modalities set up that we can share with you all later if you're interested in perhaps some local hands-on healing from good brother Ollie. He's been doing this for what, over 30 years now.
Over 30
So
years. yes.
other than the distance healing and the energetic healing, I heard you mention a term that a lot of people may not be familiar with, and some may. But you said Tui Na.
Tui Na,
Could you
yes.
explain to the family what
Yeah.
Tui Na is?
Tui Na is a Chinese type of massage. I studied it with my Sifu and also studied it in the hospitals in China. So it opens. It's a little hard. It's a little rough. But what happens is when there's an energy or a accident, let's say, say you walked into the corner of a couch
Right.
and it hurts, right? Boom, that muscle tightens up.
Mm.
The chi cannot flow. The energy and the chi are the blood, okay? So a little Tui Na, you get off into it, you feel for it, find out, say like on the hand or whatever. You work it, do a little Tui Na, a little Chinese medical, which gets deep into the areas. It opens these things up and just slightly move it with your hand. And you can actually feel the difference with it. Tui Na can be a little painful in certain areas because they go deep. You want to open those channels, those meridians, and the muscles will respond to itself. A lot of people say, okay, you got a label, okay, massage therapist, but to me, I'm a body facilitator. I help the body to heal itself. All I do is go in, do a little Tui Na or maybe some cupping to suck that up and pull the muscles out. So, it makes it a little easier on me. And when you release all of that heat, this heat just comes boiling out of it. Once the heat is out, the body begins to slowly repair itself.
So it could be pretty easily translated into the English terminology of Chinese energy massage, right?
Yes.
Right on,
Yes.
right on. So
You're causing these things to open.
Mm.
So when you allow it to open, then the excess comes out.
yeah.
And then once the excess is out, you create a balance within yourself.
So hopefully, good brother Ollie decides to teach me some of these cool things.
I would love to. I would love
Good.
to. I
Good.
would teach you everything.
Oh.
I need to pass it down to
Yeah,
someone.
that'll be amazing.
Because if I can teach you and you help 10, 20, 30 others, and you teach one or two, you're spreading it out. And that's what I want to do. I want to spread it out to each and everybody on the face of this earth to learn a little something. Even it's just like when you get hurt, like you bump your knee, you go, oh, God, that hurt. And you start pushing and you start rubbing and you're doing this. Well, you're actually doing a little bit of Tui Na. It's just not that painful for you. I mean, because your knee is hurting, but you're moving
Naturally.
that energy.
It's innate.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
The healing begin right when you touch it.
Mm.
Okay, the gentleman many hundreds of years ago that came up with Reiki, was actually meditating in a cave for like 21 days. Well, after his 21 days, he was strutting down the mountain. And what happened? He took a step and it messed up his big toe. And the first thing he did was, ah! Oh, ooh. Something had taught him how to use this energy. So when he felt it, it was hurting. And then he started doing this practice and the Reiki healing. So actually, he healed himself.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times things happen by accident.
And you can actually... So you actually have experience stimulating the body's natural healing process from a remote position. Is that right?
Yes.
And you have positive testimonies and feedback throughout the years.
Yes, I've had plenty of people to hear. One recently, last year, our friend Patty had called me, and she said she had just came back from West Palm visiting a friend of hers, and her throat was messed up. She was having problems breathing. She had throat began to swell. She had a little knot there on her throat, so Patty had called me and told me what happened, what was going on, and she goes, "Hey man, I need you to do your work." I was like, "Cool, no problem." So I told her, I said, "When I'm done, I will call you and let you know." So after a few minutes of doing my long distance healing with the lady, I called Patty and I said, "Call your friend, let's see what's happened," you know. So she called her friend and was talking to her, and about 10 minutes later, Patty called me back and she goes, "Man, you're the man, dude. I mean, my friend, she can speak clearly. She can swallow water, drink without hurting her throat. Her throat doesn't hurt anymore. Matter of fact, all the swelling was gone. So it was just an excess of energy blockage in that area."
Right on, right on. Well, I hate to cut this short, but we got about 18 minutes until we got to be on the 100-day Inner Alchemy Tai Chi 360 Patreon jam. Seems like a lot of time, but you know, when 5 minutes of that is getting everything set up, and 5 more of that is getting everything plugged into the online, and then 5 more of that is whatever else we're doing too, we got to get you in a nice costume. Isn't that right, Ollie?
Sure.
See, we all like to stay easy here. Yeah, but definitely reach out to us if you're interested in anything that we're talking about. You don't have to pay us to talk to us, guys. All right. In fact,
very interesting discussion. Thanks for.
Oh yeah, thank you, Brother Jeremy.
Soul Group.
Thank you.
That's Soul Group that snuck in.
Yep, they did. They did
Heather.
too.
Oh, Heather's here too. Hey, Heather.
Yeah, we got 3 people staying live with us.
Oh yeah.
They're into it.
Come on in, fam. We'll see you in a little bit.
Yep. See you in about 15, family. Peace.
Thank you all for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Investing your time with us. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Soul Group.
Always looking to share.
Always, always.